PARVATHI ARUL JOSHI. I am coming from St. Joseph's College, Irinyalakuda.
All the very best, PARVATHI, and over to you, KAVYA.
Myself, I'm KAVYA Krishnan, and I'm hailing from St. Joseph's College, Devagiri.
All the very best, KAVYA. Now for the motion, PARVATHI will be given 30 seconds and your time starts right here.
Monopartism in the midst of multipartism is considered to be dominant, but it is never hyper-dominant since Maurice Duverger, the French political scientist, finds that a party with maximum number of seats is considered to be dominant since a dominant party is the one which takes the public opinion to be dominant. And here, the more of a public opinion being taken, the effectiveness of the rules being made, the forgettability of the unless alternatabilities that can be made, and also here quoting the Saptanga theory of Manu and Kautilya, where the party being made is a...
Thank you. Your time up. And KAVYA, your 30 seconds. Go ahead.
My case clearly states that establishing a majority in order to form government is not the imperative. The real test lies on the floor of the legislature. Let me make it clear, giving a single party the right to form government is a stress on contemporary political system of India, a stress on the role of money, and this is nothing but the autocratization as well as the criminalization of political system that India faces. Let me take the example of demonetization that emerged over a midnight.
Your time up, KAVYA. Now, ladies, you have 2 minutes for the debate. I will start with your PARVATHI. Your time starts now.
Indian National Congress served as a single party between the year of 1947 to 1967, and it was within this period we witnessed the two major movements of the Indian independence movement and also the Western Islamization movement. And here it shows that how this single party can be made to be a constructive form rather than a destructive one.
Off to you, PARVATHI.
Well, as my worthy opponent have said, let me tell you that. See, we are living in a democracy, and democracy is deliberative democracy. As it is clear that deliberative democracy is a governance of consensus. When a coalition government comes into power, let me make it clear, the regional aspirations and the majority of people are heard. The voice, and as it is clearly said, dissent is the safety valve of democracy.
Well, here my friend here was pointing out to the coalition government. Well, in 1984, when the Charan Singh government formed a caretaker government, Congress and the AIADMK formed as a coalition. But here, the I Congress was also showing its ideas and policy when it was standing outside support only. How can we call it as a coalition?
Let me make it clear. In 1999, between 2014, India had 15 years of stable governance. And it is also said in the Sarkarian Poonji Commission that the order of precedence starts from the coalition, next to the single largest party, and at last to the pre-poll or the post-poll alliance.
When my here friend was pointing out to the stability of coalition, let me quote the statement of Ogi that the coalition can be both constructive and destructive. It can be formal and also tactic. And according to here, what it is the fragmentation politics being put forward, what we are witnessing is the tactic and the informal and destructive coalitions existing in India.
Okay, please.
What I like to point here is that giving a single party the entire right, a single party acting as a power magnet, consuming all others, it is important to remind that important thing here is nothing but violation of 75 part 3.
Okay, yeah, time up. And for the motion, KAVYA, your 30 seconds starts now.
Let me make it clear, a coalition is the most deterrable and dishonest form of governance, said Ramsay MacDonald in the House of Commons in 1923. Let me point out the first part pause system is a marriage of preponderance of decisiveness over representativeness, which is a clear tactic that coalition can no longer exist. What exists will be the single largest party with a maximum number of seats, efficiently forming a governance with maximum policies and maximum welfare for the people living in the country. Let me also point...
Your time up, and PARVATHI, your 30 seconds starts now.
Democracy and democratic institutions are going to suffer when we allow one party to form a whole of a government. And when we say that here the construction on ideas happens, the freedoms are forbidden, and also the opinions of a narrow section are not being taken. And here what I would like to point out that when we take countries such as Vietnam and South Korea, here only single party is being ruled, but the people are suffering because they have severe constrictions on the social networking to express their ideas. There are problems that are happening. And also what I would like to point out
Your time up. Now you have 2 minutes for the debate. We'll start with you, Kavya, and your time starts now.
The accepted reality is nothing but the crude partisanship and the political compulsion, in spite of the constitution and procedural things that guides the governor of the country. Let me make it clear. Conventional wisdom has said that a coalition government, as it is said, can never place the so-called economics above politics, but a strong party can actually do that.
Parvati.
There has been a recent allegation in which the RSS chief was trying to connect the problem of lynching to the Bible. And here, what he was proclaiming, he wanted to save the Sangha Parivar out of the problem of the mob lynching. And what he was proclaiming, he wanted a place in the mind of the people just because he needed a place. And this kind of problems happens when people are putting forward for a single party to take place in the hearts of the people.
Off to you, Kavya.
See, dear friend, do you think that, actually we are degrading the so-called Prakasa doctrine. I don't know if you're aware of it. But in March 4, 1965, Communist Party emerged as the single largest party, and it was not so called to form the government. You have 1971, where the CPM-dominated ULF emerged as single party and not allowed. So this largest formula of largest governance is actually being detroited by the governor of the country.
Off to you.
Well, my honorable friend here was pointing out the year 1971. I would like to point to the year 1984, after the assassination of Sonia Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, the Rajiv Gandhi government, after sweeping the whole of the polls, what he did, the very next thing was making an anti-defection law, because he feared his people would move out of his party, and that is a very clear evidence where what the party needs is just the seats and not to serve the people.
Off to you.
Over 1990s, the political instability and switching over of 7 prime ministers in a span of 10 years, and you call it as political stability. I would say it's instability with no guarantee of forming a government. And you still say that single party, if you still say that coalition should be given, then